Tel Aviv, Israel, September 8, 2025. The Israeli government has issued its starkest warning yet to residents of Gaza City as its military campaign escalates. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu directly addressed the Palestinian population, calling on them to leave immediately as Israeli forces prepare for what officials describe as a major ground incursion into the enclave's urban heart. In a televised statement, Netanyahu underlined the scale of Israel's air campaign to date. Benjamin Netanyahu said, "In the past 2 days, 50 towers have been brought down by the Air Force. All of this is just a prelude, the opening stage of a much larger and more intense operation, a ground maneuver by our forces, who are now preparing to enter Gaza City." The Prime Minister's choice of words, just a prelude, signals the seriousness of the coming offensive. Israeli officials, speaking on background, say the deployment of additional infantry and armoured brigades is underway, with staging areas established outside the Gaza periphery. According to military planners, this push will target militant strongholds and tunnel networks embedded in Gaza City's densely populated neighbourhoods. Netanyahu left no ambiguity in his warning. Benjamin Netanyahu added, "You have been warned, leave now." The direct message to civilians is part of what Israel describes as an attempt to minimize casualties, though rights groups have repeatedly criticized such notices as insufficient in a territory where safe evacuation routes are scarce and humanitarian conditions dire. The announcement comes amid relentless bombardments. Gaza health authorities report rising casualties from the Israeli strikes, while footage shared across social media shows plumes of smoke rising over residential blocks. Aid agencies warn of a mounting crisis as shelters reach capacity and electricity shortages deepen. Netanyahu, however, emphasized that the destruction seen so far is only the beginning of Israel's broader military plan. He reiterated that the campaign's objective is to dismantle militant infrastructure and ensure security for Israeli citizens living near the border. His government continues to frame the offensive as a necessary response to cross-border rocket fire and militant incursions. Behind Netanyahu's words lies a broader political context. His government has faced mounting pressure domestically, with critics questioning the handling of recent security lapses. By adopting a hardline stance, the Prime Minister is seeking to reassert control and Project Resolve. The language he used, stark, uncompromising, and devoid of nuance, reflected a determination to carry the conflict into its most intense phase yet. In Tel Aviv, the military's spokesperson echoed the Prime Minister's message, stressing that Israel is mobilizing for a long campaign. Officials say the goal is not only to degrade militant capacity, but to alter the strategic balance in Gaza permanently. They highlight intelligence suggesting that militant groups have fortified positions inside high-rise buildings and civilian infrastructure, complicating Israel's task but also fueling the decision to escalate. For residents of Gaza City, Netanyahu's call to evacuate offers little clarity on where safety can be found. Humanitarian corridors remain limited, and many areas outside the city are already overwhelmed by displaced families. International organizations, including the United Nations, have appealed for restraint and warned that further escalation could trigger catastrophic consequences for civilians trapped in the conflict zone. Israel's Western allies, while supportive of its right to self-defense, have begun expressing unease over the scale of destruction. Diplomatic sources suggest quiet efforts are underway to encourage Israel to limit civilian harm, though few expect such appeals to alter the immediate trajectory of events. Netanyahu, in his address, gave no indication of a timeline for the ground operation, but emphasized that preparations are in their final stages. As the world watches, the situation on the ground remains tense. Air raid sirens continue to sound in Israeli border towns, and exchanges of fire show no sign of easing. For Gaza's residents, Netanyahu's stark words underscore the perilous uncertainty ahead. His warning to leave now is both a command and a signal that the conflict is about to enter its bloodiest chapter. With Israeli forces massed at the gates of Gaza City, the next hours and days will likely determine not only the course of this operation, but the region's fragile stability. The Prime Minister's blunt declaration has set the stage for an escalation that could reverberate far beyond the besieged enclave. In the past 2 days, 50 towers have been brought down by the Air Force. All of this is just a prelude, the opening stage of a much larger and more intense operation, a ground maneuver by our forces who are now preparing to enter Gaza City. And therefore, I say to the residents of Gaza, I am taking this opportunity, and listen to me carefully. You have been warned, leave now.